Recently, WEF, World Economic Forum, released Global Risk Report 2023. Report is published annually. It is published annually every year. Global Risk Perception Survey. It is a global risk perception survey. It highlights key risk across five categories: in economic and environment and geopolitics and societal and in technology. These are five categories. In these categories, it brought every year global risk report on the basis of perception of survey. And it is global risk global risk is defined as possibility of occurrence of an event or condition which, if it occurs, would negatively impact a significant proportion of global GDP, population, and natural resources. It is defined as possibility of occurrence of any event or condition which adversely or negatively impact on significant proportion of global GDP and population and natural resources. On these, it every year it brought global risk report. World Economic Forum, basically, it established in 1971, and it is an international organization, and its headquarter is in Geneva. In Geneva, its headquarter, which is in Switzerland, and it is an international organization, and it is basically a public-private organization or cooperation, you can say. So here, now we are going ahead, and it is global risk ranked by severity. It is ranked country on the basis of severity, and which is in short term and long term. Short term is for 2 years and long term is for a decade or 10 years. Key findings. Here we are going to discuss key findings of global risk report 2023 in 23. These are key findings. On the basis of these key findings, it brought global risk report 2023. Top 5 risks for India are digital inequality, geopolitical contest for resources, cost of living crisis, debt crisis, natural disaster, and extreme weather events over short and medium term. Cost of living dominates global risk in next 2 years, while climate action failure dominates next or decade or 10 years. You will see here in mostly you will find uh, climate crisis in for long term. Economic after effects of COVID-19 and Ukraine war result in rising inflation, rapid normalization of monetary policies, low growth, and low investment era. And in technology such as AI, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, biotechnology, etc., will exacerbate inequalities and digital divide. This because of this technology, it will worse inequality and digital divide in India, because poor people or low income people will not be able to use these uh, gadgets because of their poverty or lack of money. That will make a digital divide in India. Only 34% of climate finance currently allocated to climate adaptation worldwide. So that's why this will be a long time crisis, because of uh, allocated allocated finance is very less. And here is some recommendations which brought by global risk report: investing in multi-domain cross-sector risk preparedness, improving risk identification on foresight, rebuilding strengthening global risk preparedness cooperation. So these are the few recommendations of global risk report, which is recommending investing in multi-domain. We have to, for example, it is saying investing in multi-domain, we have to invest in climate crisis and in food security, you can say. And in spite of this food security, we have to invest in and now improving risk identification and foresight. So we have to identify a risk, uh, in that proportion of that identification, we have to invest finance. And rebuilding and strengthening global risk preparedness cooperation. So these are a few factual points in global risk report which I have discussed. And this is this top 10 risk which is in long term and in short term, in short term and in long term, brought by global risk report. In 2 years, cost of living, natural disaster, extreme weather events, geoeconomic confrontation, failure to mitigation climate change, erosion of social cohesion, societal polarization, large scale environmental damage incidents, failure of climate change adaptation, and widespread cybercrime and cyber insecurity, natural resource crisis, large scale involuntary migration. And in 10-year risk, failure of mitigation climate change, failure of climate change adaptation, natural disaster and extreme weather, biodiversity ecosystem collapse, large scale involuntary migration, natural resource crisis, erosion of social cohesion and societal polarization, widespread of cyber crime and cyber insecurity, geoeconomic confrontation, and large scale environmental damage. So you can see here in 10 year, mostly you will find climate crisis related thing. That's why it is saying that in in long term period, climate crisis or climate risk will be more, and in 2 years it will be mixed, related to society and technology, geopolitics and everything. So once I think once we will have to revise it. So it is brought by World Economic Forum every year, and World Economic Forum is international organization established in 1971. Its headquarter is Geneva in Switzerland, and it is an public private it is a public private cooperation organization basically.